What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Welcome back to episode 38 of the show. Now, we have a, a kind of big episode here. As first of all, we're gonna be talking about the Nets collapse. And then we're also gonna be diving into the Debo Samuel trade, also the Tyreek Hill trade, stuff like that. Or not the Tyreek Hill trade. Um we'll get to that in a minute, but stuff about Tyreek Hill. I know we're talking about that a lot. And then later in the show, guys, Bobby Thompson will be stopping by from NFL. He's an NFL reporter for the Bucks, the Patriots, and he kind of started this like that's what like on Thursday, this is or Tuesday, this whatever it was. He's kind of the guy who got everything popping off with Debo. So it's gonna be cool to talk to him, get his insight, where he thinks the team could go, and stuff like that. Give me on Twitter at EmmettNoC04. Get the show Blindside Pod 11, Blindside Sports 00 on Insta, Blindside Pod or Blindside Sports 7 on the TikTok. And without further ado, let's get into it. Now, I want to lead with the Brooklyn Nets. Okay. Now, the Brooklyn Nets, as we're coming to you live from the Blindside Studios, they're not live, but the Brooklyn Nets are a very interesting team. Because they are down 2-0 against the Boston Celtics. And it's not looking good. And it's not like there's been close games, or it's like they've been blowouts. They've been pretty close games, pardon me. But to me, there's a lack of someone on that offense that will. What the heck? Sorry, there's a car going off outside, like really loud, and I didn't know if you guys could hear it. So, but yeah, there's been a lack of performance from a couple guys the past couple games, and without that, I think the game would be, obviously in the Nets' favor. Like it's not like, I think game 2 was like 7 points, and then obviously on Sunday, game 1 was like 1 point. And I don't think Steve Nash is actually the guy to blame. I mean, because I think for me, all this blame goes on Kevin Durant. Now, game 1, 23 points with a field goal percentage of 37%. To me, that's unacceptable. If you are KD, who people say KD is one of the best scorers in the NBA, right? People say KD is one of the best players on the planet. Game 2, 27 points, but it gets worse. 23% from the freaking field, guys. That is absolutely garbage, right? KD, you need to pick it up. Kyrie Irving had a good game 1, but his game 2 was not very good. And I still don't hold him too much to blame there. For me, if I'm Kevin Durant, I am going, this is your point where you want to prove your legacy, right? Like you want to basically be like, look, I can ball and I can be a good player without Steph Curry, without Klay Thompson. And to duke the bed like this, right? I mean, look, like someone said on Twitter, like 23 points, 27 points. If you didn't look at the field goal percentages or watch the games, you'd be like, you know what? This is not a bad performance. But once you look at once you watch the games, once you dissect that field goal percentage, you're like, God, this is awful. Kyrie Irving didn't have the best of games. I mean, dropped 10 points and 1 assist. All right. Like I just don't know. Like to me, that just shows that like the Nets, something isn't right. Like KD should be flowing. He should be popping off. It's the playoffs, baby. No excuses to be bad. Am I right? Like talk about. Well, I just think it's embarrassing, right? To have a horrible performance in the playoffs and go down 2-0 against the Celtics. And I mean, the Celtics are playing really well. Jason Tatum's been balling out. And I just think that the Nets need to pick it up. And there's a chance it could be picked up in game 4 as Ben Simmons is coming back. And the question that, a lot of us are wondering is, will Ben Simmons be much help to the Brooklyn Nets, right? And he hasn't played basketball since June of 21, first of all. Second of all, I think, who knows like what he's been doing, like rehab wise, all of that. I just don't know like what is gonna happen, right? Like, yeah, okay. Like Ben Simmons could do something, but it's just and also I think a lot of this depends on the result of tomorrow's game. Right? Like if it was, if the Nets lost tomorrow, then it's gonna make it a lot harder, and Ben Simmons is gonna have virtual to no impact, I think. But if the Nets are able to pull out a victory, there's some optimism, right? You get Ben Simmons coming back. I believe he'll be on home court, to where I think, look, the Nets could have a chance of pulling something off here, right? The Nets actually could have a fair shot, because here's what Ben Simmons is going to do. He's going to be your distributor, right? He is going to be that guy to where easy shots are going to be set up for KD and Kyrie. They have no excuse to be bad. They just need to score like 25, 29, and like 35 and be efficient, right? He's going to help the boys, pass on a favor to the boys. Ben Simmons, that's his plan, right? And also, like, it's just like, man, you like Ben Simmons is gonna get you he's just gonna feed the rock. That's all that if KD can't do anything with that, then I don't know what KD is gonna do anything with, right? Like KD and Kyrie, like this series, like I said, it's like they just have not been very good. And also Ben Simmons is gonna I made a joke on Twitter. I was like, true, to someone who said that, what's he gonna do, shoot more? Defense wins championships. If you have someone who can lock down Jason Tatum at an elite level, then you're gonna be then there's a then it's definitely gonna help you in your favor. But then again, it's just like, well, there's a lot to happen. We don't know what Ben Simmons is gonna look like. He hasn't played basketball since June of 2021. And last time he played basketball, well, we all know what happened with that. He absolutely sucked at a time he could not suck. Ben Simmons was absolutely garbage last time he played basketball, right? Scared, passing up shots, just was not a good player, to where I just feel like there's a lot to be done, a lot of questions to be asked. And I think the Celtics are definitely going to come with their stuff ready and be just super, 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 super chill and be having a good time and balling out. I think they have the momentum with the 2-0 series lead, and KD's had 2 bad games in a row. I don't see him, having a third crappy shooting percentage game in a row, but like, it's still a possibility. Celtics still have the momentum here. The Celtics are still, like going up 2-0 at your, going into Brooklyn with after KD and Kyrie both had bad games, then I definitely think that the Celtics are, you have to watch out for them as a Nets person, right? The Nets are going to have to do something, right? To like you saw, like freaking Jaylen Brown go off, even Marcus Smart, who's clamping, and he won Defensive Player of the Year, which a lot of people hate on, and I don't get it, man. I really don't. Like, I think with the Defensive Player of the Year or Defensive Player of the Year award is it's kind of fugazi, because like Rudy Gobert, he's won it. He lost 50 points, and it's like, it's the NBA. Players are gonna score. I'm sorry, like, come on, man. And that's the thing with sports. Everything is gonna be debated, and that's just how it can work, right? So I think there's a lot of stuff that needs to go right here for Brooklyn. I think being down 2-0 is definitely not the best of starts for you guys if you're a Brooklyn Nets fan, but you guys are going into home. You guys will hopefully be getting Ben Simmons back on Monday. So that's good. And yeah, those are my thoughts on the Brooklyn Nets. If you have any thoughts on that, definitely be sure to hit me up on Twitter or in the comments or Insta or TikTok. I'm interested on your thoughts on the Brooklyn Nets, right? If you guys think differently than me, let me know. Definitely, I'm open for opinions, man. Like that's what we're here for. We're here to talk sports, have fun, vibe, chill, do all that. Now, Emmett Douglas right here on Blindside Sports. Get me on Twitter at EmmettNoC04. Get the show at BlindsidePod11. Instagram, I'm at EmmettNoC. The show is at Blindside Sports 00. And the TikTok is at Blindside Sports 7. Now, I want to dive into this whole Kyler Murray situation. Man, we're going to dive into Kyler Murray, and then I think we're going to dive into the interview with Bobby Thompson and then finish out the episode. But, this is a weird situation. He kind of defused like what his agent was saying last week. And then Ian Rappaport, I believe it was, put out a tweet. And here, let's see. Let me find it here. But he put out a tweet. He put out a tweet basically saying something about the relationship. And Kyler Murray's like, well, he just replied with the one, the 100-point symbol and like something with like staying in Arizona or something like that. And I just don't get it, man. Right? This is a confusing situation. He's acting immature. Kyler Murray is so overrated, right? Kyler Murray is a guy who does not deserve the pay, and it's nothing against the dude, even though I'm a Seahawks fan. Believe me, it is nothing against Kyler Murray. I like his play style, I like his flashiness, but he's one of the most overrated players in the NFL. Want to know why? He plays great, first like half of the season. And then him and his team have what I call the second half slump, the second half snooze fest, the second half knockout, the second half sleep. Them boys sleep, right? It is not good. I just don't know how you could expect yourself to get the big money, but I see why he's doing it. I really do. I mean, look at this. Like everyone, like we're just going through all this. Like, everyone's asking for money. I see why he's doing it. I don't think you should get the pay. And to me, I just don't like the wiping your social media move to prove a point. Like, come on, dude. That's just so stupid. Like, and there are talks that he could sit out the season, which I don't think would help his case at all. He hasn't shown enough for me to get that good contract. Nothing against the guy. I like his, like I said, I like his, what he does. But I need to see it for a full season of good Kyler Murray. And then, I'm like, all right, cool. Send him over that contract. I just don't like him taking off his social media profile because that just shows like it's asking for a trade. And I don't know. But then again, you could just archive it. Like, I mean, people don't really realize that. At least for Insta, you can archive stuff and you can still have it and then put it back up after you get your stuff. I just don't think it's the right move, man. It just sets off the douchey vibe to me, man. And we're gonna, that's kind of the theme of this episode. Players wiping their social media feeds. Like, that's what they're doing in their social media feeds. Like, hello, is this thing on? Come on, really, bro? Like, it's just like I feel like it's a non-power, the quiet way of basically telling your team, like, bro, I don't like you. I don't know. It's just a little weird to me why they do it. But like I said, I do get why Kyler Murray is getting the money. I do. I do get why I do get why he wants the money, and I don't blame him for wanting the money. It's just like, dude, you haven't proven enough for me to do that. Giving out one of these big quarterback contracts is just, it's just a lot, man. It is just a lot. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports. Now, I want to talk to you guys real quick about a situation. And that situation is Andy Reid saying Tyreek Hill, they will be fine without him. My question for you, and the question I'm going to pose is this true or is this bullcrap? I am leaning on in the middle. All right. And more leaning towards bullcrap. And the reason why that is look, Tyreek Hill was a playmaker. Tyreek Hill was so stinking fast. Yeah, you have McCole Hardman, but I mean, that's going to open it up. First of all, and it's not just Tyreek Hill. Like, Travis Kelce is not getting any younger. You lose Tyreek Hill, and that division is just so strong, right? And the Chiefs even did have issues last year. And I just trading Tyreek Hill is just, it does not help them at all. And, everyone's like, oh, yeah, they could sign him. So on, even Wilders are like, they could trade for Debo, which I'm just like, I don't know. We're going to get to that later, especially with Bobby Thompson, because my boy Bobby Thompson, just that guy has it with Debo Samuel. Like he knows a lot, and I'm definitely, trying to get his insights on that and all of that stuff. But yeah, I think trading Tyreek Hill could be an issue for the Chiefs, and I don't think it's like a big issue where they're gonna go 2-14. I think it's gonna be a kind of, they're not gonna be fine. They're gonna need some help. Something is a little offy, about the Chiefs, and hey, they're still gonna be good, but they're it just, there's a lot of factors in the Chiefs where I just like, look, stacked division, best division, and probably what we've seen in a long time, and losing freaking like top 2 or 3 receiver in the league. I don't know. Just a little fishy to me, man. I just want to see. I could be completely wrong. I mean, Andy Reid has done this before, but Tyreek Hill's just a speed demon. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports, with you. Now Luka Doncic has not played all 3 of these games, as the Mavericks are up on the Utah Jazz 2-1 in an absolutely thrilling series. And the reason why is Jalen Brunson. My boy dropped 31 last night. I believe it was like 38 on Monday. And he's been absolutely carrying the Mavs. And to me, like, the Mavs, like the Jazz, they just haven't really looked that good. And it would be a lot worse if Luka was actually playing. But Jalen Brunson, I respect this. Like, I think this is what what is gonna, save the Mavericks. Like, this, having him step up at this moment against the Utah Jazz, dropping 2 just like studly performances without your best player. My boy Jalen Brunson steps up in the clutch, and I respect that a crap ton, right? Even Dinwiddie's come in and made some contributions, like, and the Mavericks are, looking very good. I believe they won by like a hefty amount yesterday. Like, they were good. And I feel like the theme in this playoffs is superstar players, or not superstar players. It's just breakouts. We got Tyrese Maxey, who's he's been a breakout all the series, had a really good series. We have had Jordan Poole, who's had a really good series. We've had we just mentioned him, Jalen Brunson. I mean, it's just wild to me how, look, freaking Devin Booker we're gonna get to that later, expected to be out for 2 weeks. Like, I just feel like, stuff is gonna, just happen. And man, the Pelicans, they're getting so stinking lucky. We're gonna get to that later. We'll get to that later. because it's really interesting. And injuries have also been a theme. Like Chris Middleton, MCL injury out. Joel Embiid, this one just broke. Could have torn ligaments in his thumb. I don't know how that's going to, and it looks like he's going to play. We're going to have to wait and see how that works. And yeah, even Steph Curry's on a minutes rotation. Steph Curry's still been balling out. I just know, like, the theme of this playoffs has not been the superstars this year. James Harden has not been particularly good, like usual. KD has had a very off playoff series. LeBron James isn't even in the run. Cat did not have a good game yesterday. And man, how about the minute? Okay, we're gonna get to this after the interview with Bobby Thompson, because the stinking Timberwolves just gagged it away. Now Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports, the NBA playoffs are just going crazy, man. I'm definitely tuned into this. We got draft coming, and I think I actually am gonna do another draft show. But coming up next, you're gonna be hearing from Bobby Thompson, and that's gonna be a super fun interview. And then this is different. We're not done. I'm gonna give you, we're gonna hear his thoughts on the Deebo Samuel stuff, because he's the one who's broke it. But then we're gonna have me give my thoughts on the Deebo Samuel stuff. Plus, talking about Devin Booker, talking about Jerry West. This is such a good story. And then the collapse, the Minnesota just choke job that we all experienced, that we all watched last night. And I mean, it got to the point where I turned this game off because it was just so dookie. It was just not good at all. So I turned the game off and came back to bite me in the butt. We're gonna get to that stuff. But coming up next, Bobby Thompson. Stay tuned, because I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. This is the first guy I've interviewed who has like no affiliation to Fox Sports Radio. So I'm excited to have Bobby on, and coming up next, it will be the real Bobby Thompson. Alexa.
All of it.
Oh, sorry, I miss.
I'm there for all of it, man. Man, sounds good.
All right, and he is a NFL reporter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the New England Patriots, fan-sided. He does it all, and he'll be in Las Vegas next week to cover the draft, and also a guy who, kind of got us, a lot of insight on the Deebo Samuel situation, and that is Bobby Thompson at btomps81 on Twitter. Bobby, welcome to Blindside Sports, my guy. How you doing?
What's going on, man? Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
I had to bring you on after I saw, on Tuesday when you put out that Deebo Samuel trade, and, that kind of took, everyone was like, there's no way he's going to ask for a trade, but he did. And obviously that's what we're going to lead with. And that's because, probably one of the bigger NFL stories out there, I'd say right now. I got to ask you, man. So kind of give, if you guys don't know, there's been a lot of drama. Give us a rundown of the Deebo Samuel situation, kind of what happened, how it started, and, just go ahead.
I mean, with Deebo Samuel in the beginning, I think everybody was pretty shocked that after the season he had last year, where he showed off his versatility and arguably being one of the best weapons in football. When you hear about this, the reason why he's upset with the 49ers is he doesn't want to be that versatile a guy. He doesn't want to be lining up as a running back. That's what he's said he's disappointed with, which I'll be quite honest with you, I don't understand why. Mm-hmm. I understand the longevity of your career. He's only 25 years old, but I could tell you this, man. I don't know if there will be reconciliation. He's pretty angry, frustrated with them. He's made it clear he wants out today. He even told them that he doesn't even want to talk extension. He just wants something new. And it really is, I said this earlier, he deserves to be paid. I think every wide receiver, after you've seen this offseason, and all these wide receivers, Devontae Adams getting big deals,
Tyreek Hill,
Um, Tyreek Hill,
Christian
uh,
Kirk, even.
no, that was a bit that was that was an overpay and a half.
Yep.
But in terms of that, every wide receiver, listen, every wide receiver in the NFL right now is mad because they want that money. And Deebo Samuel, look, after the season he had, he deserves to be paid, understandably so. And he's got 2 years left on his deal. I'm sorry, forgive me. I think he had 1 year left on his deal.
He's been in the league 3 years. So
Yeah, he's been in the league for
so.
3. It's crazy how he's been in the league for 3 years. It doesn't feel like that.
No.
But
well, last year he kind of got his, he only played in 7 games because of injury. So I think that kind of derailed it a little bit. And quickly before you keep going, and when I was looking, I'm sure you saw what I quote tweeted, and I was, prepping for the show because and I was like, he seems to pop up on the injury report all the time, but what's the actual number of games that this guy played? And I believe it was 2019, it was 15, 2020 was 7, and this year was 16. Like, yeah, he's on the report.
1 game.
Yeah. 2020 was his only year where actually, but he's always on the report, but he's able to clutch up and come through and just have a field day on offense. That's, that's the thing that.
Well, yeah. Listen, the 49ers need weapons. They have George Kittle, Deebo Samuel drafted there. They use him perfectly. He doesn't want to be that hybrid role. I'll be honest with you. I've never seen or heard any type of playmaker not want to get the ball.
Yep.
He had nearly 400 rushing yards this year. The guy had 8 rushing touchdowns, for crying out loud. He was an outstanding player. If you had him in fantasy, which I've had him in multiple leagues, the guy was a stud every week.
Yep. I hate playing against that guy. Unfortunately, I didn't get to draft him. But man,
it was tough for playing against him. But when you had him, you loved it. But I just think, you know what? He just wants something new. I think he wants to be traded, and then he's going to want to be paid. And there'll be suitors for him. The Jets are going to be heavily involved.
Oh, yeah. They have 2 first-round picks this year, which is.
Well, the thing is, I don't think it's going to take 2 first-round picks for Deebo Samuel. I think
I agree.
One of them, it may be I think if you give him a first and a second, you're good. I think that's perfect. And, we're just going to have to see what happens. But Deebo Samuel seems, and the writing's on the wall that looks like, unless some drastic change happens within the next week or so, looks like he's played his final game in a 49ers uniform.
Yep, definitely, man. Bobby Thompson with us. Now, I have to ask, on Twitter, there's been, even some, not just like some random, person on Twitter, some random Joe. Even there's some big name media people who say Deebo Samuel will not be the same without a 49ers uniform on. Are you buying into that? Or do you think he's still going to be the versatile Deebo Samuel we all know and love elsewhere? I
think that a team can help a player evolve. I don't think a team really makes a player what they are. I think that Deebo Samuel, from his days at the University of South Carolina, he was a tremendous talent. He's quick. He's got great hands. He runs great routes. He's versatile. You can do multiple things with him. I'm going to tell you this. When I saw that, I don't believe that at all. I thought that was foolish for people to even tweet. So, sometimes on Twitter, people get, get happy.
A little trigger happy. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, they just want to see how many when you press that like button, see how many they could get. But Deebo Samuel, wherever this guy goes, he's going to excel. And I think the offense, if you're trading for him, you're going to put him in position to. Listen, you're not going to trade for him. Like, I'll give you an example. You're not going to be the Giants who sign Kenny Golladay to 4 years, $72 million, and not throw to him in the end zone when the guy should be getting thrown to in the end zone all the time. You're trading substantial draft capital for Deebo Samuel. Oh, he's going to be a focal point of your offense.
I agree. And, you've mentioned the Jets, Bobby, and I think that would, because I feel like if Deebo Samuel was not on the trade market, I have a feeling one of those 2 picks, if not both of those 2 picks they have in the first round, would be used for an offensive weapon.
It is.
So yeah, definitely. I think we can all agree on that. So what I think they're like, we can already go for a guy we already know what he is, a stud. He can rush the ball, and he can catch the ball. The Jets, are the Jets. Like, they have had horrible luck. And I think this could be a guy that turns them around to where, because like, yeah, Deebo Samuel, that 49ers team was loaded with talent, but even Jimmy G, who, and even some of his performances last year where he wasn't very good, highlights of Jimmy G's bad performances were Deebo Samuel, right? Deebo Samuel had one of those, things in the seasons where, look, it was kind of unique, and it not kind of it. Pardon me, it was very unique. Like, he had like 1,400 yards and like a fair amount of rushing yards, 1,400 receiving yards. Pardon me. So
he had 77 receptions, 1,405 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns.
And he had 8 rushing touchdowns.
8 rushing touchdowns. If I'm not mistaken, I think he had like
365.
365. But yeah, going back to that point is he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to be that hybrid type of player. He wants to be strictly a receiver. That's why he's mad at the 49ers, which is strange.
I agree. It definitely is something that, we haven't really seen before. I feel like that's kind of the theme of this offseason. I mean, like this whole wiping the social media thing where he did it, Kyler Murray did it, it's kind of new. And, moving away from Deebo Samuel real fast, Bobby Thompson with us, covers NFL for the Buccaneers and the New England Patriots and Fansided. Now, you're going out to the draft in Vegas next week. And so you're probably been very tuned into it. What is a prospect where you think he's going to be on top of draft boards and he's kind of underrated? And what team do you think would go for him?
Underrated, Trayvon Walker. Defensive end for Georgia. Nobody's talking about him. You've heard some draft boards saying he'll go first overall to the Jaguars. I think this guy is really, really good. There's another linebacker. His name's Troy Anderson, who's under radar too. But I think, honestly, I will tell you this. In terms of Trayvon Walker, I think he goes top 10.
Wow.
He's very good. He's he's a very good talent. He gets after the back. I will tell you this. I think you could lock it. The first overall pick in my eyes is either going to be Aiden Hutchinson or that guy.
Ooh. Yeah, I definitely think, like the Jags, they're kind of set on quarter, but this is not a very strong quarterback class this year compared to last year. Next year, yep. I mean, you got talents like Bryce Young, who, and I feel like the Jags, I mean, you have, obviously Etienne and Robinson are both coming off. Like, I know Robinson was Achilles. I think Etienne was Achilles injuries, if I'm remembering correctly. And you have, pretty solid offense. So I definitely think Jags are going rusher, defense, something along those lines.
They're going to go. They're going to go defense. And then, you know what? I think this offseason, they really spent significant amount of money to help Trevor Lawrence. And the offensive line will be all right. You'll add some more pieces, but defense is where they're going to definitely go for sure.
Yeah, they definitely spent money, as we were, alluding to earlier with Christian Kirk, overpaying a half, as you said. Now, I got to ask you about this Kyler Murray situation, Bobby. What do you think is going to happen? And I brought this up earlier before you hopped on here. Do you think Kyler is deserving of this contract? Do you think if he doesn't get it, do you think he's sitting out? Are the Cardinals budging and paying him? What's the plan?
Well, you drafted him first overall a few years ago to be your franchise quarterback. Yeah, he's very frustrated. He feels he's done enough to warrant a significant payday. And you know what? He's very good. We've seen good Kyler Murray, but we've also seen pretty bad Kyler Murray.
Yes.
I think it gets figured out. I do. I don't think they're going to want to, have a issue with Aaron Rodgers like last year and have that hanging over their heads. Because if Kyler Murray doesn't want to play for them, then they're toast. In this offense, they traded for DeAndre Hopkins a few years ago. They kept AJ Green, traded for Zach Ertz. They did this for the sole reason to build an offense around Kyler Murray to be successful. So I think it gets done. I don't think it's anything to worry about for Cardinals fans, and they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's deserving and if it's going to be, get done are two different things, because you said it perfectly. We've seen good Kyler Murray and we've seen bad Kyler Murray. The good Kyler Murray, is just, it's crazy. We all love to see it. And it's, as a Seahawks fan, I can admit when Kyler Murray's on his A game, it's fun. But, we don't see that for the full season. It's, the first half and then either something slows them down. So I think the Cardinals are going to want to figure it out, because they know, without Kyler Murray, we definitely are screwed. I mean, I'd like to see Kyler Murray, prove it another year. But then again, all these quarterbacks are asking for money. And, Baker, who is asking for money. I think Kyler's a better quarterback than like he's done more than Baker, I'd say. Like it's weird. And wow, that was a really good segue by me there. Baker Mayfield, what's up? Where's he going in the Bobby Thompson prediction log? Where will he be next year?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm gonna go with your Seahawks, actually.
Yeah. Now I had a really, kind of hot Baker take, and I kind of got crapped on it on Twitter, which, like you said, it's Twitter. People are, get a little crazy with their fingers and type up some BS. But I said, now, I mean, I could be wrong on this. You could disagree. You might disagree with me on this. Baker Mayfield is a guy. A lot of people are calling him trash. He should never, be, but that's Twitter. But I think Baker's a system guy, right? We saw in the 2020 season with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and all that, that pretty loaded Browns offense, what he could do. He was, led the Browns to a playoffs, and, they almost eliminated the Chiefs, Bobby. Like they came close to doing that. And I think, this year was not the best year for Browns fans. And yeah, there was some bad decision making on Baker Mayfield's part, but he's only been in the league he's still a relatively young guy, to where I'm not ready to write the guy off. And with the Seahawks, man, is look, if you keep DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, which it looks like is going to happen, he has two great DK's up and coming weapons to throw to. And you picked up Noah Fant in the Russell Wilson trade, who is, a young developing, and he's a solid tight end, right? I think Baker Mayfield would be a good, good fit for the Seahawks. I just can't buy into Drew Lock being there long term. I mean, we saw him, just collapse.
He was a throw-in for that trade. He's not there
Agreed.
for the long haul. He's a stopgap. He was thrown into that trade because the Seahawks needed a quarterback, so they took him on.
I trust me, I'm with you. And, because, hey, I mean, this was before Deshaun Watson. No one knew that Baker would be like, this was like right before that. And you cover the Patriots, Bobby.
Which is my favorite team.
Go. Yeah. I Mac Jones, baby. Now I got to ask you, if you're the Patriots front office, if you're Bill Belichick, who do you want on draft night? And are they going to pull a Patriots and trade?
No, don't even get me started with that.
I'm used to it also, man.
I can foresee that happening, but if they stay at 21, they need help on defense. They lost J.C. Jackson. They need corner, but linebacker is huge. And there's two linebackers who I really love, and that's Devin Lloyd and Nakobe Dean. If one of them's available, you take that one of the two. But if not, you got to take receiver. And if Jamison Williams somehow falls to 21, you take him. You have to. But for me, in my opinion, I truly think it's going to be Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd if they're there.
Yep. Patriots do need defensive help losing a key member in J.C. Jackson there. Now, a lot of people, we said this earlier, the quarterback class isn't strong. Will a quarterback be taken in your top 15?
A quarterback in my top 15, I would have to say yes.
Who's it going to be?
Malik Willis.
What team?
Believe it or not, I think the Panthers.
Ooh, that's interesting. And,
I will say, here's what I'm going to say. The Steelers really, really like Malik Willis. So I'm going to tell you this. Don't be surprised if the Steelers try to trade up.
Yeah, that, I think that would be, interesting if they did. And I mean, you got to kind of, especially after losing a talent like Big Ben, you have to, go big or go home there. And going back over to Deebo Samuel, we talked about the Jets, but what are some offers another team could throw for Deebo Samuel?
What your question was it? What could some teams off? What would the offers
Yeah,
be?
what are some other teams and what would, they be willing to throw for Deebo Samuel?
I
Like, what
think the
have you heard?
Packers are very interested. I think they need wide receiver help. They got rid of Devontae Adams. Why not tag team Rodgers with Deebo
Oh, that
Samuel?
would be
That's
so
a
awesome.
match made in heaven. I think the Chiefs could be a team to watch out
Yep.
for. The Lions have the number 2 overall pick. Uh,
Are they
I,
trading
I
number 2 for Deebo though?
no,
That's
no,
a
no.
yeah.
I don't. I'll just tell you this: the Lions trade number 2 for Deebo Samuel. That's foolish.
That would be the most
And I'm
Lion
not
thing
trying,
ever.
and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Deebo Samuel, saying he doesn't deserve it because he does. But I'm sorry, that's the 2nd overall pick. I'm not doing that.
I believe they saw the 32nd pick.
The 32nd, they do. You're right. They could give
Yep.
you know what, the 32nd and their pick in the 2nd round. Why not? I think the Lions are going to be heavily involved for Deebo. They love him.
Yeah, you might have to throw in, obviously because like the 10th pick compared to the 32nd, you might have to throw another picking compared to the Jets or even a player. But then again, it's Deebo Samuel. Why not go, get your option? And the Lions, I mean, they have it going. I mean, they really do. If you can pick up Deebo Samuel and with Amon-Ra St. Brown, with DeAndre Swift, with TJ Hawkinson at tight end, I mean, that's kind of a scary offense. And Frank Ragnow, who's a legend at center, I mean, that's kind of scary.
I will tell you this: that they just need a quarterback. That's all they need.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on Jared Goff. I'm sorry, I never was. The fact that he went 1st overall in 2016, I still don't understand how that happened. But he took a team to a Super Bowl, and then the Super Bowl got exposed for what he is. So,
They crap the bed in the Super Bowl.
and they know that. Listen, Jared Goff is not there for the long haul. They made that trade. They need that another situation. They need a quarterback. They wanted to see what he has. He's shown promise, but listen, the Lions, they're going to be looking out for a quarterback. I think someone like Kenny Pickett could be good for them.
Yes, Kenny Pickett with his hand size. Are you sold with this hand size? Like, does that for you? Does that kind of
No, not
okay.
really, because I listen. Everybody makes a big deal. Listen, are his hands that small that he can't grip a football? No, he can grip the football. He's fine. I think a lot of people, the measurement of hands is just, I think it's kind of, forgive my language, dumb.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
I will tell you this: I understand why they measure wingspan. That's more important, but hand size. Anytime I hear somebody with hand size, I'm just like, seriously, you're really talking about this?
Yeah, it is an interesting conversation that it seems to be brought up every time a quarterback does have some small hands. Last question, Bobby. Gonna let you run after this. Thanks for coming on, but
of course,
with the whole AFC, man, what team is do you think will be coming out of there next year? Because I mean, there's so many options. But what do you think?
You mean what team do I think will go to the Super Bowl?
Yes, what team will be coming out of the AFC to the Super Bowl?
I would love to say the Patriots, but realistically,
realistic.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
Ooh.
I'm very sold on that Chargers team. They're gonna be very good.
Yes, I actually agree that the Chargers are a very good team. Every year you picked up Justin Herbert and people were doubting Justin Herbert. And,
I love it now how people were doubting Justin Herbert a few years ago. Now they're like, oh, he's this great quarterback. We all knew how good he was, and he went to the perfect landing spot too.
Yeah, I was one of those guys because I'm an Oregon
I always
guy.
said it. Me too, bro. I said it too. I said that he's going to, wherever this guy ends up, he's going to be successful.
Yep. And the Chargers are doing an absolutely fantastic job.
Oh, yeah.
Surrounding him with talent. What they're doing is just so good, and I respect it. Khalil Mack, JC Jackson. You last year you bring in Lindsley, the Pro Bowl center, Corey Lindsley. You pick up who they draft last year? I'm blanking on his name. The tackle. Rashawn Slater.
Yes, Rashawn Slater.
You have done so much, for Justin Herbert. Every year you guys have a upgrade somewhere. I think the Chargers, the only thing that's holding them back is that AFC West, but I think they're just so, deep, and, they have a really good defense as well and a really good offense to where I haven't given too much thought into Super Bowl, but right now, man, I couldn't disagree with you. I don't think the Chiefs are going to be, I'm not really high on the Broncos. I mean, the Chiefs are good. I think it's going to be Chargers, Chiefs, and then, Broncos, Raiders, they could all be in that second spot. I think the Chargers are going to come out on top so far. But that AFC West is probably one of the more stacked divisions we've seen in the NFL in a very long time.
Yeah, I think that AFC West is something else. I'll tell you that, man. And the Raiders we just got to see what they. I will tell you this: watch out for Devontae Adams and Derek Carr. You want to talk about a great connection? That's going to be scary and lethal going back to their college days.
Yes, sir. This was Bobby Thompson at BTomps81 on Twitter. I'd definitely go follow that one because he'll be live in Vegas at draft night, and he will be covering it and tweeting out his reactions and, anything that were to break, anything that he were to hear. I think it's a good Twitter follow, and, go show him some love. And when he says he's going to start a podcast after the draft, so I definitely wait. Stay tuned on his Twitter feed for when he starts that one up and show it some love. Very fun to have you on, Bobby. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. No problem. Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. Coming up next on Blindside Sports, we're going to be diving right back into the NBA playoffs. That's a big storyline. All right, now let's dive back into the NBA playoffs with a pretty big story that took place, like 2 days ago, man. And Devin Booker for the Phoenix Suns is expected to miss up to 2 weeks with an injury, with a hammy. Oh, man, this playoff, it's just injury after injury, man. I think the Pelicans they're getting kind of lucky. Okay, like if you think about it, look, first of all, the first injury to happen was Paul George got the COVID. That was their first break. Second of all, now they got Devin Booker, who is such a game changer for the Suns, missing at least a couple weeks. And if you want my thoughts, man, I just think, first of all, that obviously the Pelicans are very lucky. Second of all, I wouldn't say that it's done, but what I will say is this: the Pelicans are going to put up a fight on the Suns, and the Suns are going to be lagging in this fight without Devin Booker. As you see, the Suns won Game 2 on Tuesday, and they'll be playing Friday night, which is tonight as I'm recording this. And, I think the Suns will still be kind of competitive, but this definitely helps the Pelicans, right? The Pelicans got stinking lucky. Let's be real here. The Pelicans they got just real lucky, right? Talk about luck. If the Pelicans are able to knock the Suns out of the first round, talk about luck. Who knows if this would even happen if Paul George never got COVID? Would we be talking about this? God, dude, they're so freaking lucky. Sorry, but God, it's impressive. And I think, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, they have all been balling out. Okay. I think, definitely CJ McCollum was definitely the right move for the Pelicans. I really like the move. And without Devin Booker, it's just a hole in that Suns team. Other players could, come up and fulfill the void, but it's not going to be the void of Devin Booker. So I think the Pelicans are going to put up a pretty firm, good fight against the Suns. I wouldn't be shocked if they got knocked first round. This Devin Booker injury is costly, but then again, I mean, we are all scared of, that the Jazz are going to get like swept or something without Luka Doncic, and someone like Jalen Brunson stepped up and carried the load to where I wouldn't be shocked. Okay. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports, coming to you from the Blindside Studios out here in Washington. I want to dive into this whole Jerry West winning time, the Lakers documentary. Now, basically, Jerry West got mad because HBO and the people made him look like a raging lunatic, alcoholic, angry, just crazy man. And I mean, you look into it, Jerry West is not that crazy. Like, Jerry West is a normal, nice guy. And I can't blame him for being upset, but like, apparently, like, you just, he didn't really want to be involved in it. And that's why I feel like, yeah, I don't blame you for being upset, my guy. But what you got, you got to be, I feel like if you want, the right stuff to be, out there, you do got to, put your word in. I mean, like, it is out of pocket for them to call, for all this, like, make him look like a raging alcoholic. Like, it is out of pocket, right? I'm not gonna lie. I do think it is a little bit, uncalled for. But then again, Dre West, you should be stepping in, like, hey, yo, I want this. This is what happened. All of this. I mean, and also, I mean, we do have to realize this is, TV. This is dramatized. I mean, sure, maybe Jerry West got mad, back in the day on the Lakers at a result. It's probably getting, dramatic for the entertainment's sake of things. And, it is an interesting story. I do like, I just think it's a great story. I mean, I feel bad that Jerry was treated like that, but it's definitely entertaining. Blindside Sports. Emmett Douglas with you guys. Why don't we go on over to where do you want to go? I kind of touched on my Deebo Samuel thoughts with Bobby, so we're gonna I'll quickly segue over there. I think this is a really good, I think I do think, just having one breakout season, some teams could be a little bit skeptical to throw over, what they want, a big offer, but like, I do think something's going to happen. I mean, we saw what Deebo Samuel did last year, and I did, like I saw in Bobby, I did learn, this guy is not that, injury prone. Coming up next, though, we are going to dive into an epic collapse job by the Minnesota Timberwolves last night. Yes, the Grizzlies were able to come back and just nail the Timberwolves, guys. And this wasn't even a close game, right? It's not like they come back and win like 99-98. They came back and won 104-95. And to me, man, this is an epic choke job by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Karl Anthony Towns did not do very much. 8 points, 5 boards. Anthony Edwards, 19 points. D'Lo, 22 points. Not very good. Not very good over there for the Grizzlies. I mean, but how about our guys, the Memphis Grizzlies, coming back, led by John Morant? And it wasn't just John Morant. John Morant did chip in 16 and 10, but Brandon Clark, 20 points, 8 boards. Desmond Bain dropped 26, man. This team was all over it, man. Like, it was an epic choke job by the Timberwolves. But I feel like this is like a point of where, the Grizzlies were just not warmed up, and they saved all of it for the second half, came back and just mangled the Timberwolves. I mean, that's what it looked like to me, and I'm not an expert, but it kind of seemed like that for me, man. And that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and say, show some love. Peace.